Emily and I had been married for 6 years. We were the kind of couple people envied. At least, that's what I had always thought. We had our inside jokes, our shared routines, our lazy Sunday mornings with coffee and crosswords. But lately, those moments had become rare, almost non-existent. I couldn't pinpoint exactly when things started to shift, but I knew something was wrong. At first, I chalked it up to work stress. Emily had been busier than usual, staying late at the office, complaining about deadlines and meetings. I wanted to believe that was all it was, but then the small changes started adding up. She was on her phone more, turning the screen away from me when I walked into the room. Her excuses became thinner, casual explanations that didn't quite fit. The worst part was the way she looked at me. Not with love or even annoyance, but with something else. Guilt, maybe, or distance. Then, a month ago, I found out the truth. She had left her phone on the nightstand while she was in the shower. It lit up with a message from a name I didn't recognize. Jason. I wasn't the kind of husband who checked his wife's phone, but something about it made my stomach twist. I glanced at the screen. The message was simple, just 3 words. I miss you. For a moment, I convinced myself it was innocent. Maybe an old friend, a coworker. But deep down, I knew. I didn't touch her phone. I didn't need to. From that moment, everything made sense. I started watching more closely. The late nights weren't really at the office. The sudden me-time trips to the spa or the bookstore were just a cover. And then there were the receipts, dinners at restaurants we'd never been to together, charges for hotel stays under her name. The truth was sitting there, waiting for me to acknowledge it. I didn't say anything, not right away. I told myself I needed proof, but maybe I was just trying to delay the inevitable. I didn't want to believe it. I wanted her to stop on her own, to realize what she was doing and come back to me. But she never did. Then, one night, she sat me down at the kitchen table. She looked nervous, like she had rehearsed what she was about to say. She reached for my hands, but I didn't move to take hers. I think we should try therapy, she said softly. I studied her face, waiting for her to say more, but she didn't. She just stared at me with those pleading eyes, as if she were the one who had been hurt. Therapy? I repeated, keeping my voice even. She nodded. I feel like we're drifting apart. I don't know what happened, but I don't want to lose us. I almost laughed. She didn't know what happened. Was she really going to sit there and pretend? Or was this her way of easing her own guilt, of proving to herself that she had tried to fix things before they fell apart? For the first time in weeks, I felt something other than numbness. I felt anger, not just because she had betrayed me, but because she was still lying. I leaned back in my chair, looking at her. Really? Looking at her. She was waiting for me to agree, to nod and say yes. Let's go to therapy. Let's fix this. But therapy wasn't for us. Therapy was for people who wanted to rebuild trust, not for people who had already burned it to the ground. You're right, I said finally, my voice calm. Something is off. I watched her expression carefully, and for the first time, I saw it. The flicker of fear. Not the fear of losing me, but the fear of being caught. She knew. She could feel it. The truth was no longer hiding in the shadows. It was here, sitting between us, waiting for me to say it out loud,